Well, some fans say they want a refund after the show by Timberlake in Transylvania last week. Timberlake can be seen pulling it.
Okay, we're doing this again. Especially when we got together, though, to rehearse. We're looking at each other going, all right, we're just going to sing, right? And they're like, no, we're going to dance. So me and Chris looked at each other and goes, oh.
Justin Timberlake just walked on stage and barely said a word. Fans stood in the rain, waited for hours, and watched him stumble through a performance without even turning his mic on. Was he tired, burnt out, or is something much worse going on? Because this wasn't just one bad night. This has become a pattern, city after city, show after show. And now, fans are demanding refunds, rumors are exploding online, and Timberlake's entire tour is spiraling into a PR disaster. So what happened to one of pop music's biggest names? And more importantly, is this the beginning of the end? It was supposed to be a moment. One of those unforgettable nights on tour where the artist connects with thousands of fans under the open sky.
Justin Timberlake has spoken out on the backlash he's getting for his concerts being bad. Clips from his recent shows have been popping up online.
But instead of a legacy performance, Justin Timberlake gave Romania silence. The scene was Electric Castle Festival, one of the country's biggest summer events. The energy? Electric. The crowd? Massive. Some had traveled hours just to be there. Many had waited in line all day, braving muddy grounds and heavy rain, clinging to the hope that Justin Timberlake would make it worth their while. He didn't. When Timberlake finally stepped on stage, fans were met with a sight they didn't expect. A man with his hoodie up, sunglasses on, barely visible beneath the stage lights. There was no big entrance, no opening words, no signature Timberlake charisma.
Justin Timberlake may be silently tanking his tour, and here's why no one's talking about it. Number one, from what Reddit is saying,
it felt like he didn't want to be seen. And when the music started, his hit single, Can't Stop the Feeling, you'd expect him to own the stage like he once did. But instead, he mumbled the first few lines, then just stopped singing. That was it. He casually pointed the mic toward the crowd, silently inviting them to carry the rest. And they did, confused, unsure if it was part of the show or if Timberlake had simply decided he didn't feel like performing. But what came next made it clear he never jumped back in. Not for the verse, not for the chorus, not even for the bridge. He just wandered around, clapping along to the beat like a bored DJ in the middle of someone else's concert.
Rock said, I mean, yeah, it's not the best, but concerts are about the vibe and atmosphere. Next, Ciara said, he still got it to me. Next.
One user wrote, we didn't come here to be the band. The reaction online was instant. Clips flooded social media platforms, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all showing the same awkward moment. A headliner standing in front of tens of thousands of people refusing to sing. One tweet summed it up perfectly. He took a day off while on stage. Another went viral with just 3 words. Say what? Seriously? Others weren't so kind. I want my money back, and I didn't even go. The performance became a meme within hours. Fans dubbed it Justin's disappearing act. But the criticism didn't stop at laziness.
Justin Timberlake's performance was a disaster. When he sang Can't Stop the Feeling, he only sang a few lines and then handed the microphone to the audience.
People began speculating that something was off. His movements were strange, disconnected. He wasn't even facing the crowd most of the time. One clip showed him spinning in place, muttering something under his breath. The mic turned away from his mouth. Viewers commented that he looked intoxicated, distracted, or possibly just completely burned out. Is he okay? People started asking, and the more fans rewatched the footage, the worse it looked. Why was he hiding under his hoodie? Why didn't he even try to sing? And if he wasn't going to perform, why go on stage at all? To make things worse, the backup dancers and vocalists were doing everything they could to salvage the set. You could see the desperation behind their forced smiles. The lighting cues still fired, the beat still dropped. The crowd tried to keep the vibe alive. But without the main act actually performing, it all fell apart. And this wasn't just a few seconds of low energy. It was the entire set. Fans didn't feel entertained. They felt duped. Some even joked that Timberlake must have mistaken Romania for a sound check. Others compared him to a drunk uncle crashing karaoke night. Harsh, yes. But when people pay hundreds of dollars to see a professional show and get nothing, it's not just disappointing. It feels disrespectful. Even Romanian press outlets picked up on the backlash, with headlines questioning whether Timberlake's star power was fading and whether the crowd deserved better.
A lot of karma happening with performers. I don't know if this is just a phase, but I don't know. First I had to deal with a J-Lo.
We waited in the pouring rain for hours, one fan wrote. He didn't even look at us. It was like he wanted to be anywhere but here. He didn't even try. That's what stung the most. Not the rain, not the mic issues, not the timing, just the lack of effort. The sense that this massive audience who had shown up for him wasn't even worth showing up for. And maybe, just maybe, this wasn't an isolated incident. Because as Timberlake's tour moved across Europe, a troubling pattern began to form. And fans quickly realized Romania wasn't the only disaster. The next shows, they'd somehow be even worse. If fans in Romania thought they got the short end of the stick, they weren't alone. Because city after city, the story was the same, and in some cases, even worse. From Paris to Estonia, from Lithuania to Dublin, Justin Timberlake's European tour turned into a slow-motion breakdown. But this wasn't the usual tour fatigue. This was something else entirely. It started with the whispers. Fans leaving the Paris show were confused. Was that it? One person asked on TikTok. The energy was low. The vocals? Almost non-existent. Some even claimed his mic wasn't turned on at all. Instead, they watched Timberlake stroll around the stage, barely dancing, barely singing, while the background dancers did most of the work.
All right, guys, I guess we're TikToking now. You know what? I think this is gonna go really...
Again, by the time he hit Lithuania, people weren't whispering anymore. They were walking out, literally. Entire rows of concertgoers left midway through the performance. One viral clip showed Timberlake half-heartedly swaying in place as the crowd chanted lyrics without him. One commenter wrote, "He's performing like he lost a bet." Then came Estonia. Same show, different city. Fans reported that he was 45 minutes late, and when he finally showed up, he didn't even greet the audience. No hello, no welcome. Just music, background vocals, and Timberlake in sunglasses, wandering around like he wasn't sure what song was playing. Another tweet nailed the vibe. This is less of a concert and more of a hostage situation.
A lot of people are talking about Justin Timberlake's performance or lack of commitment to.
On Reddit, fans began comparing notes. The stories were nearly identical. Mic off, no crowd engagement, dancers doing the heavy lifting. Timberlake mumbling a few words into the mic before disappearing into the shadows of his own stage. But it wasn't just the laziness that bothered people. It was the attitude. The sense that he didn't care. At all. We weren't just ignored, one user posted. We were disrespected. You expect mistakes at live shows. You expect hiccups, tech issues, even a few missed notes. But what fans were witnessing wasn't accidental. It felt intentional. Like he had completely checked out.
At your concerts, because can we just normalize singers actually singing and actually performing an entire song? I have just what?
He showed up like someone dragged him there, another fan wrote. We paid for a concert and got a sleepwalker. The worst part? People couldn't even chalk it up to one bad night. This was a pattern, a tour-wide phenomenon. And the internet started calling it exactly what it was. A meltdown in real time. Clips were stitched together across multiple cities showing the same awkward dance moves, the same headset-free mic drops, the same blank stares into space. TikTok creators turned it into a trend. Guess the country Justin forgot he was in. The clips got millions of views. And the comments, brutal. I've seen more stage presence from mannequins.
Wondering, has 2025 not taught y'all anything? Stop supporting terrible white guys and stop giving them your money. Maybe then they'll stop taking it.
Justin Timberlake's mic has spent more time on the ground than in his hand. This man is phoning it in from another planet. And as fans demanded refunds, some even began reaching out to credit card companies to dispute charges, citing a fraudulent concert experience. Imagine that, an artist being accused of performance fraud, not because he lip-synced, but because he barely showed up. And if you think that's rock bottom, we haven't even gotten to the show he didn't do at all. It was supposed to be the perfect ending, the final show of the US leg, a night fans had looked forward to for months. Instead, it became the moment everything collapsed. Columbus, Ohio. Thousands of people filed into the arena, buzzing with excitement. This was it.
A lot of people are mad at Justin Timberlake right now because there are several videos of him not singing at his concerts and instead making the crowd sing.
Justin Timberlake's final American performance before heading off to Europe. For many, it wasn't just a concert. It was a memory in the making. Fans came from all over. Some had driven hundreds of miles. Others booked hotel rooms, arranged childcare, paid for plane tickets, all for this one night. And then silence. As the arena filled and the lights dimmed slightly, something felt off. The band wasn't warming up. The crew wasn't moving. The clock ticked. No announcement, no music, just an eerie stillness. Then finally a message appeared on the giant screen. Due to illness, tonight's performance is canceled. That was it. No video, no explanation, no Justin.
Justin Timberlake should consider himself lucky if he ever gets invited back to perform in Romania. He just performed his first concert.
At first, people thought it was a glitch, a prank, a mistake. But security began ushering people out, and the realization started sinking in. The show wasn't going to happen. Not late, not shortened, not at all. Justin Timberlake had canceled minutes before showtime, while fans were already in their seats. The crowd's reaction was instant. Some cried, some yelled, some just stood there, stunned. People who had spent hundreds, sometimes thousands, on tickets, travel, and hotels were told, essentially, go home. And what made it worse? No apology, not in person, not even a wave from backstage.
Yes, I heard the news. This boy is back in the streets after his DUI arrest recently, but some people are saying that his new concert stage.
Timberlake never came out, never spoke, never explained. Fans were left to refresh Instagram and Twitter, hoping for any kind of real communication. Hours later, he posted a short message. "I'm so sorry I had to cancel. I was feeling very under the weather and the doctor told me I shouldn't perform tonight. I'm truly heartbroken." The post didn't land well. People immediately brought up the fact that this wasn't the first time it had happened in Columbus. Back in 2018, Timberlake had canceled another Columbus show, also citing vocal issues with similarly late notice. Fans started asking, why does Columbus keep getting ghosted? But this time felt different. This time, he wasn't the same Justin Timberlake the world once knew.
Update on how my hoodie refund was going, so I do want to thank Justin Timberlake.
This was post-Romania, post-walkouts, mid-meltdown. The rumors were already swirling. The video's already viral. This last-minute cancellation wasn't seen as a fluke. It was seen as proof. Proof that something was wrong. Worse still, there were no refunds for anything outside of the ticket itself. No reimbursement for hotel stays. No compensation for travel. No consideration for parents who arranged childcare. Workers who took days off. Fans who rearranged their lives for a night that never happened. One furious fan posted, "I spent $900 for one night. The only thing I saw was a cancellation notice." Another wrote, "He was backstage. We know he was backstage. And he still couldn't even walk out and say it himself."
JT fans in Columbus cannot catch a break. Justin Timberlake had to cancel his show in Columbus last night due to sickness.
There were no tears in that apology. No live video, no statement from a publicist, just a single post, a few emojis, and then silence. Reddit threads exploded with frustration. Fans began posting photos of their receipts, airfare, hotel bills, Uber rides, none of which would be refunded. Some even tried to dispute the charges with their credit card companies, calling it a non-performance. One user called the cancellation emotional fraud, another called it a slap in the face. But beyond the logistics, beyond the money and disappointment, was something even more damaging. The trust was gone. Up until this point, fans had tried to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Look at this! Breaking news! That was just like the breaking news.
Maybe the viral videos were taken out of context. Maybe he was tired. Maybe the tour just had a rough start. But this was the final straw. The sudden cancellation, the silence, the lack of accountability. It all felt like confirmation. Confirmation that something wasn't right. That Timberlake wasn't just phoning it in. He was unraveling in real time. And for a man whose entire career was built on charm, stage presence, and control, this wasn't just a scheduling issue. It was a brand crisis. And unfortunately for Timberlake, it was about to get a whole lot worse. Because buried underneath all this chaos was something darker.
Justin Timberlake is reacting to a hilarious sign at his concert. During Justin's October...
Something he couldn't blame on the flu or a bad night. Something with a police report, a mugshot, and a criminal charge. At first, it looked like fatigue, maybe burnout, maybe a star stretched too thin. But then one headline changed everything. June 18th, 2024. Justin Timberlake was pulled over in Sag Harbor, New York. According to police, he had failed to stop at a stop sign and was seen swerving. When officers approached the car, they said his eyes were bloodshot, his speech was slow, and his breath smelled of alcohol. The story spread fast. He'd been out late the night before, drinking with friends at a hotel bar. But when asked for a field sobriety test, he reportedly struggled.
Justin Timberlake, your white privilege didn't work. While he got arrested and tried to say under his breath, this is going to ruin the tour.
One officer noted that Timberlake's balance was off and that he was unsteady on his feet. The arrest was swift. He was taken into custody and booked for DWI, driving while intoxicated. The mugshot hit the internet within hours. No smile, no glam, just a dazed, empty stare. The kind of image that never goes away. And for many fans, that moment wasn't just a legal issue, it was a turning point. This wasn't just about a bad performance anymore. This was about someone who might be spiraling behind the scenes. A few weeks later, Timberlake pleaded guilty. He was fined, had his license suspended, and was ordered to attend a drunk driving education program. But the damage wasn't just legal.
Can you imagine waking up like this? Hi, hello, good morning. You guys.
It was reputational. News outlets began looking back at his behavior over the past year. Clips resurfaced, awkward interviews, shaky performances, strange social media posts. Suddenly, everything seemed to fit a different narrative. That he wasn't just tired, he was losing control. And the tour? It started to look like a desperate move, a man trying to outrun headlines, a comeback that wasn't ready. Critics were quick to point out the irony. Timberlake had spent decades projecting an image of polish and precision. He was the guy who always got it right. The NSYNC breakout, the Super Bowl performer, the movie star, the man who managed to survive multiple controversies with barely a scratch.
No wonder Jessica Biel is filing for divorce after Justin Timberlake's DUI as she discovers her husband's creep.
But now, the curtain was slipping, and people were starting to ask the question nobody had dared to before. Has Justin Timberlake lost himself? Of course, the internet didn't hold back. Conspiracy theories began to swirl. Was he drinking again? Had something triggered a relapse? Was this tour his way of avoiding his personal life? His marriage, his past mistakes, his falling relevance? Some speculated he never really faced consequences for his actions until now. And others, especially longtime critics, saw the arrest as karma catching up. One post read, "Justin's been protected for years. Now he finally looks like the rest of us. Human, flawed, broken.
Justin Timberlake has been going through it for the past year, but it seems like in the past 6 months, Justin has, gotten his second win.
Still, others felt conflicted. They remembered the icon, the charisma, the voice, the dancer who once lit up entire stadiums. And they wondered if this was a man quietly asking for help, but doing it the only way he knew how, by falling apart in public. Either way, the DWI didn't just confirm fans' worst fears, it gave them context. Suddenly, the lazy shows made sense. The dazed stares, the missed cues, the mic on the ground, all of it. He wasn't just off his game, he was off the rails. And as the backlash grew, Timberlake's image, once untouchable, began to fracture. For some, irreparably.
Just days after his arrest for driving under the influence in the Hamptons, Justin Timberlake kicked off his tour again in Chicago. Now, footage from the concert is...
But even as the legal drama played out, another story was bubbling just beneath the surface. A story not about the stage or the courtroom, but about what was happening behind closed doors, at home, in his marriage. And that's where things start to feel even darker. When someone's public life begins to unravel, the first place people look is behind the curtain. And for Justin Timberlake, that curtain leads straight to his home. On the outside, Timberlake and Jessica Biel have always projected stability. Hollywood's golden couple, beautiful kids, polished red carpet appearances, seemingly untouchable. But beneath that glossy exterior, insiders say something very different has been playing out for years.
Well, well, well. To the shock of absolutely nobody, it appears that Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel are trending towards divorce.
Back in May, a blog post quietly made the rounds in certain industry circles. The claims were explosive, but chillingly specific. According to the anonymous source, there's no intimacy left in Justin and Jessica's marriage. Not physically, not emotionally. They're only staying together for the kids, the source wrote, and even that's wearing thin. The post went on to describe their relationship as performative, a carefully maintained public illusion designed for appearances, for social media, for PR, not for connection, not for love. Jessica, the source said, has become laser-focused on her career. She's producing, acting, developing shows. She has multiple streaming projects lined up. She's busy, but she's grounded.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Amy here, the Mystical Badass. I've got the messages. People want to know what...
Timberlake, by contrast, is reportedly chasing the past, hopping from city to city, trying to reclaim the stadium-filling magic of his early 2000s prime. But the more he tries to recapture it, the more distant and distracted he becomes. He's moody, self-absorbed, constantly away from home, the source claimed. And it's killing whatever is left of their connection. Friends reportedly noticed the tension at dinner parties, red carpet events, even family gatherings. They no longer acted like a couple in love. No subtle touches, no private jokes. Just two people performing the role of married and fine with the precision of trained actors.
Multiple sources are beginning to report that Jessica Biel and Justin Timberlake may be headed toward divorce. Now, Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel have been married for...
One quote stood out. They've got nannies, assistants, staff. Logistically, they're supported, but emotionally, there's nothing left. This context changes everything. Because when you look back at Timberlake's performances, the blank stares, the sluggish movements, the constant avoidance, it starts to look less like laziness and more like a man emotionally shut down. And fans noticed. In the comments under recent tour clips, people started connecting the dots. You can't fall apart on stage unless you're already falling apart at home. He doesn't look tired, he looks broken. Even casual observers began to speculate about an impending divorce. One viral comment read,
Like, I remember when the Justin Timberlake, Jessica Biel stuff was coming out, everyone was like, these are rumors. And there were actual photos of him.
Jessica's gonna file the second the tour ends. You can feel it. Another fan took it further. He's not performing. He's grieving the end of his marriage in real time. And the most brutal take? He's not hiding it anymore. He doesn't care who sees it unravel. Still, neither Timberlake nor Biel has directly addressed any of the rumors. their social media presence remains carefully curated. Family photos, birthday posts, red carpet flashes. But fans aren't buying it anymore. Not when the stage tells a different story. Because it's not just the mic drops, not just the mumbling, not just the silence. It's the look in his eyes.
Where she sees these two all over each other and finds out that they've been secretly planning to meet up whilst he was with her.
The exhaustion, the hollowness, the sense that he's in a room full of people and still completely alone. And when someone's marriage is crumbling, their reputation is collapsing, and their fans are slipping away, it's not surprising that the performances are too. But even with everything falling apart, Timberlake still has a few shows left. And what he does next might be the last chance to save what's left of his legacy. It's rare to watch a celebrity spiral in real time. Rarer still to watch it unfold on stage night after night. But that's exactly what's happening with Justin Timberlake. And now, with just 2 shows left on the international leg of his tour, Baku and Istanbul, everyone's watching to see what he does next.
According to the blind items, things are not looking good for Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel's relationship. Here is a new...
Not just fans, not just critics, but the entire industry. Because Timberlake isn't just closing out a tour, he's facing something much bigger. The question of whether he still belongs at the top. The pressure is enormous. These last shows aren't just concerts, they're litmus tests. The final chances to prove he can still deliver, still perform, still matter. And the rumors? They've already started swirling. Behind the scenes, there's talk that Timberlake might be preparing for a major image reset. His current tour and new solo album haven't generated the buzz he hoped for. The viral backlash, the DWI, the disappointing shows. It's been one hit after another.
Who else is living for these Justin Timberlake videos? Because for me, I want to...
But now there's a new strategy on the table. A full-blown NSYNC reunion. According to multiple reports, Timberlake has been in quiet discussions with his former bandmates, Joey, JC, Lance, and Chris, about bringing the group back together in a serious way. Not just a one-off interview or a cameo appearance, a real reunion, a tour, possibly even an album. Why now? Because he needs a comeback, and he knows it. The math is simple. NSYNC still has nostalgic power. They never officially had a final tour. And with their longtime rivals, the Backstreet Boys, gearing up for a splashy Las Vegas residency at the Sphere, the timing couldn't be better.
Deserved. Oh, that's what you get for not singing.
Fans would show up for it. The internet would eat it up. The media would reframe the narrative overnight from Justin Timberlake is done to Justin Timberlake brings the band back together. It's the ultimate PR pivot. But even that might not be enough. Because at this point, people aren't just questioning his voice or his stage presence. They're questioning his intentions, his heart, his ability to show up. For the audience, for the music, for himself. Does he even want this anymore? One comment under a recent clip summed it up perfectly. If he wants to walk away, just walk away. But don't stand there and pretend you're still trying. Others are less forgiving. They've already checked out. They're calling the tour a scam. The performance is a joke.
I left and many people did too. Justin Timberlake's stewardess videos of phone-in tour performance in Romania floods social media.
And Timberlake a man clinging to relevance he no longer deserves. Still, there's a sliver of hope for the fans who grew up with him, who still remember the magic, the spark, the rhythm. They want him to come back. They want him to wake up. They want him to prove everyone wrong. But time is running out. 2 shows, that's all he has left before the curtains fall. And if those final performances look anything like the last few, it might be too late. Too late to fix the tour. Too late to win back the fans. Too late to rewrite the narrative. Because no matter how famous you are, no matter how long you've been on top, if you stop showing up eventually, people stop waiting.
It felt like he was just taking a break on stage. It seemed like he didn't even want to be there, as if every minute on stage was annoying him. Many fans
Once upon a time, Justin Timberlake was untouchable. A born performer, a hitmaker, the guy who could sing, dance, act, and do it all flawlessly. But today, he's not center stage. He's stumbling through it. Over the past few months, we've watched a reputation crack, then crumble, one no show at a time. From concerts that felt more like crowd karaoke, to a criminal charge that shook the internet, to whispers of a marriage held together by silence and convenience. This wasn't just a bad tour. It was a full-blown unraveling. And maybe that's the scariest part, because this wasn't the industry turning against him. It wasn't a scandal dug up from 20 years ago.
That could get a little sticky, because what if they discover that something about his performance was a little...
It was him, in real time, folding under the weight of his own choices, on stage, online, and at home. But now, with only a couple of chances left to make things right, the question lingers. Is Justin Timberlake on the verge of a redemption arc? Or writing the final chapter of his career in real time? Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle. Maybe we're watching a star who's finally burned out, trying to pretend the light's still on. Or maybe he's about to surprise us all. Either way, one thing's for sure. The world is watching.